inspire and uplift other women. So this project that I brainstormed, I want to say a couple years ago, it was a couple years ago. I think in 2017, I came up with this idea, and it's called Project Her. And this idea first started as like me just wanting to go around my city and take images of women, okay? Young women, um, older women, all kinds of women. I don't know if you're familiar with the book Humans of New York, but I am a big reader. I like to read up on artists and just different kind of artists. And this book inspired me, the Humans of New York book, and it's pretty much a photographer who takes photos and of people in New York City, and this photographer gets their story. So I'm like, me as a woman, okay, in this time of just change, like there's so much change going on in, my country. And there's just so many women who are dreaming, manifesting, starting their own businesses, finishing their degrees. I want to bring and shine light to those women, especially those women who really clap for other women.
Hi. You look so cute.
Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry. I honestly, this is my first time like actually hosting a Zoom.
Stop.
Yeah.
Oh my
So,
gosh, I'm honored. I'm so honored.
hi. So, I'm actually recording on my video camera and on the podcast. I'm just confirming that it is okay to be recording and filming. I'm
Oh my God,
just
my teeth.
very, very happy that you joined. And I'm just trying to get this all together here. All right.
Okay, let me just get my tea. Can you hear me okay?
Yes. So it's Kyler, right? I'm pronouncing it right.
Yes. You can call me Kai though.
Kai. So I'm
Yeah.
Talia. You can call me Talia, whatever works.
Oh my
Um,
God, hi.
I'm so excited. So
I know, me too.
let's just like hit it off from the beginning. Like
Okay.
how did you even find me on Instagram? I know Instagram is a great tool. Was it
It
YouTube
is.
or
Yeah, no, it was YouTube. It was because you were posting your little podcasts on there, and I it was just the algorithm, I guess, because I don't know. I really couldn't tell you, but I just remember listening and being like, "Oh my God, I love this girl. She's so like she's got it together." Like, and then so I started watching your vlogs too, and I was like,
yeah.
she's fun. And then I just like, then I got like a little internet attached to you, and then I just wanted to watch your whole journey from the beginning, and it's really cute. It's fun.
Yeah, I'm actually I feel like the internet for me was just a way to heal and like find myself. So it's like
Same.
it's really nice that you can connect with people from like all walks of life, from all different places, it's what is it, 7 p.m., 7 almost 8 p.m. by you or
Yep, it's almost 8.
yeah, wow. So tell me a little bit about yourself. Like I know you're 25.
Yeah.
What like what are your days like? Like
Well,
what are you up to right now?
I am born and raised in the Pacific Northwest, so I live in Washington State. Um, I am kind of going through my quarter life crisis as we speak. So I'm just kind of trying to figure out who I am and what it means to be Kai, and learning my lessons and going through my growth. And quarantine really made that more available for me, just because like it's even more time for me to just sit with myself and be with myself. But I've always been obsessed with like self-help and um I started reading self-help books when I was like 12. And in high school, I would read them and I would hide them because I thought like my friends or like my boyfriend at the time or my parents would like make fun of me kind of. But like honestly, what it boiled down to was I always thought something was like inherently wrong with me. And it wasn't until like quarantine that I kind of just started to figure out that nothing is really wrong with me at my core. I'm just human having a very human experience. And um, so now it's just kind of me learning to not only like, you know, make progress in life, but also learning to accept who I am and to forgive myself, to forgive other people around me, to learn what it means to really feel joy, um, to deeply feel gratitude, like and really feel it, and to just as it ebbs and flows, because that's one thing that has been like the biggest lesson so far for me is I've always just strived for happiness. Like, oh, like I just want to be happy. Like that's all I want is I want to be happy. And it wasn't until very recently that I learned that like happiness isn't it's not this thing that we get and we get to keep forever. There's always going to be shit that's happening. And it's more about how you can adapt and how you can take the lessons away from the harder parts of life and um, learning to like love yourself through the bad times too. And I think that's where you cultivate that joy is when you do learn that, you know, there's ups and downs and you learn to be with them and be present with them and mindful. So, I mean, yeah, that's pretty much what I do right now is I'm just trying to figure out what's next. And it's been very both frustrating and exciting because it's like there's just so much out there, there's so many possibilities. And like, it's not like where I'm at right now is not where I thought I would be, 5 years ago. So I'm so grateful for it though, because I think this, like, what I'm starting to come to realize is what I want to do is like really truly aligned with who I am. So yeah, that's
That's
I don't know.
awesome.
That's me just
Yeah.
going off on a quick
No,
tangent.
yeah, listen, it's so relatable though. Like it feels, it does not feel foreign at all. It's very much so relatable. And I think growth and healing is a part of all that. And it sounds like just in your voice and in I can even feel it through the screen, just like I can see your growth, and
Oh,
reflection is important. And I feel like women like you and we reflect on, the bad times, and it sounds like we've been through things that bring us down and make us feel emotionally just aware. And there's nothing wrong with, growth and just wanting to be better.
no,
There's nothing wrong with that.
not at all. And I think sometimes we just don't know how to do it or like where to start. And I think that's kind of why I was so into like self-help and figuring out like how do I fix myself? I didn't know where to start. And I always thought that a book or another person or um, a particular like event, like achieving something would have that answer. And it's like as cliche and corny as it sounds, like it's inside of you.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And when you like realize that, and when that kind of hits you in the face, you're like, damn, so this power was inside of me this whole time. And
Yeah.
I didn't I didn't know like things could have been so different, because like for me at least, I kind of went through this moment of like being like, damn, like I could have made life so much easier. I could have like saved so much despair, like saved myself from so much despair. And blah, 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 blah. But like the truth is that it led me to where I'm at now. And even though I'm not even close to where I want to be, it's like, I really do have to say that like where I'm at, like spiritually and mentally is, I mean, it's good.
That's very good.
Yeah.
That's very good. And that's exactly like that's exactly it. And that's exactly what I want to talk about. I just wanted to ask you, what do you think has inspired you the most? Like where did you really find that awakening? Like where did you feel most, vulnerable, but at the same time powerful?
Through pain, like through just like my own emotional pain. Like I would say I would say probably these last 2 years have been so hard for me in terms of mental health. And um, it was that moment of me being in my rock bottom, and it was like, okay, either sink or I swim. Like, what do I do next? Do I keep living my life this way and just put all this blame on me, have all this shame, all this guilt, um, and not feel worthy of like having any good in life? Or do I figure out something like, and then that, I just was like, please, like the universe, God, just give me like a sign. And I came across, are you familiar with Louise Hay?
Louise
Hay,
Louise
Hay.
no. No, I'm
She
not.
is
HAY.
phenomenal.
I'm
So
writing her name down.
she is so phenomenal. She I think she passed away in like 2016, but she was really like prominent in like the 80s. She's a huge self-love advocate. She was really big on like doing self-affirmations and mirror work, but I think basically her whole philosophy was that all it is, like, it just comes down to something as simple as loving yourself. And that idea of self-love to me was so like, yeah, like, okay, I kind of get it. Like, self-love, like wear a face mask. And then like, and I dove into it a little deeper, and I was just like blown away, because with her books especially, she'll have you analyze like your childhood, and just basically anywhere you're holding resentment, or just like even
Awesome.
bodily symptoms that you have, and she relates it to emotions. And
wow.
So when I really started to go down that path, I just felt a lot of change. I felt lighter. I had like just this newfound sense of hope. And for the first time, I was like, you know what? Like, maybe my life is up to me. Like, maybe I can take responsibility for everything that's happened up to this point, and change it from here on out.
Yeah.
And
I feel that.
yeah, I just decided I didn't want to be as mentally and emotionally miserable as I was. And with that, like just even being willing to work on those things, like then so many other things started to like kind of shift around me. Like even like in my body, like I just started to feel more comfortable in my body, and more healthy, and just more connected to who I am. So it's still a process though. Like I said, I'm not even nearly close to where I want to be, but
Same.
it's just it's these little shifts, and like they're the stepping stones. And I'm just like, I'm so thankful, like all these things that I had in the past wished had worked out didn't, because I don't think I would be, feeling how I feel right now about what life is, and what, I just wouldn't have the outlook that I do now. And it's, I don't even know where to start. Like, I hope that answered your question.
No, it most certainly did. And I want to go back to something that you said, which I resonated with, was when you were like, it's these shifts and it's still, a process. And I think that's the biggest thing, is the awareness. Like when things are going good, and then it's like that shift of negativity that tries to creep up, or like, our body's giving us symptoms and signs, our mind giving us those, like red flags, like, hey, and then that's when we kind of we're aware and we're like, okay, how can I work on this? Like, we're always constantly working on ourselves, on our mind, on
Yeah.
our bodies, like, and our bodies are a powerful thing. And that's what we're going to go into, is like what you're studying is this healing, right? You want to do like healing with medicine, or with herbs, or I don't know. I know you mentioned it's herbal
I don't
medicine,
really know. No, I really want to be in like holistic healthcare.
holistic health. Okay.
And I don't really know. That's the thing too, is like part of me doesn't really know what that means yet, like where I'm going to,
Okay. Yeah.
fit my way into there. But
But
yeah, like
it's there.
it's there. I think like
Yeah.
my ultimate goal would be like to work one-on-one with like women to kind of like um I really hate the term life coaching. It just doesn't resonate with it, just doesn't do it for me. But
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, like, kind of coach
Mhm.
people.
Or guide people.
Um, yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Guide.
Yeah.
Way better word. Just guide women and to learn to love themselves.
Yeah.
Um, not have me make women love themselves, because I think like the biggest part of that is knowing that it comes from just you,
Mhm.
not anything external. But yeah, just show women down the path, give them some tools, give them some examples, give them some resources, um,
Yeah.
and be like a motivator. And yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the big thing. I feel like there's a lot of women who put so much pressure on themselves because of the media and what they see on the media.
Yeah.
And it's like these women aren't aware that they have the power. We have the
Mhm.
power to feel beautiful, to heal ourselves. Like, we don't have to look at which there's nothing wrong with Botox and plastic surgery and, like outside resources for us, right? Because every woman wants to feel and look beautiful, right? But
Mhm.
there's a lot of women right now who kind of bypass the healing within and the
Right.
mental awareness, and they kind of fall and spiral into this place of being stuck, and that's where mental health crisis comes in, and that's where
Mhm.
just the cattiness and the competition
Mhm.
happen, right? That's where I feel like it stems from, is not realizing that us women have the power to really change our lives, our surroundings, our minds, our hearts, and just kind of move past everything else and really come out strong. It's just really, I, I don't even know how to put it in words. I feel like it's hard being a woman. It
It
really
is.
is. It's so hard, but when you really find that place of confidence and just happiness and purpose, it's like that's where every woman really wants to be, right? um
Yeah, it
it
is. Like
just
that's, I mean, I feel like that's why we have most of the desires and the goals we have, is because we think that we'll feel confident and loved and
mhm,
happy.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's like women are so scared to show their wounds, that we're scared. We're
Yeah.
scared to show wounds. And that's exactly it. That's what I was going to get at. You mentioned childhood, from like Louise Hayes. She talks about how the traumas in childhood, and our childhood plays a big part in the way we develop as adults, and we find our purpose as people. And I feel like a lot of my relationships and the way I am stems from my parents and my upbringing. And just my experiences as a kid. And it's crazy because, I want you to talk a little bit more about that. How can we change our mindset? Like, what are things that you do to heal from your past, right? How have you healed from your past should be my question. Cause I think that's a big issue. Like,
Okay. Yeah, that's a great question because I I mean, up until very recently in my life, and I'm talking like the last 6 months, I have been someone who has always lived in the past.
mhm,
I've held grudges. I've like ruminated on all the times we've screwed up. I've, shamed myself for things that happened when I was like 15,
mhm,
17, 20, and still was mad at myself for them. Um, and it's just, or like just like girls from high school, I would be like, No, mm-mm." Or like, um, past relationships and just, um, or just anything, friendships that didn't work out. Like, I just always lived in the past about how I felt in my current state, I guess. And that it affects, your current world. It does. And I think personally, like I'll speak for myself, like I was pretty unconscious of it though. I felt like it was just kind of where my mind would go to and I wouldn't even realize it. And it wasn't until I did become conscious of it that I was able to kind of work it backwards. And I mean, there are so many ways that, you can heal from your past. And I could probably talk about it for like 2 hours. There are so many modalities. And I've used different, things for different things that needed healing. But I can give a couple examples. I think one thing is just being able to, like, let's talk about like other people first. So like when you have people that you're holding grudges against, or um, you know, friendships that drifted away, or relationships that didn't work out, or someone who was mean to you in high school or whatever. Um, a big thing that we kind of justify it in our head was like, we'll justify it as like, well, they did me wrong, I didn't deserve that, or if they would have just done this, it
right.
wouldn't have happened, or whatever. And so there's a lot of like blaming another person, but there's also just this part of us that kind of maybe like subconsciously thinks that if someone else needs to change in order for us to change, and that's not the case. And so I
Right.
think that little realization was pretty big for me, and I was kind of able to go back to specific situations and give people grace and just be like, you know what, I mean, because truthfully, I mean, I'm sure you've heard it a lot, but we're in any given moment, we're all just doing the best that we can with what we know to get those basic needs met.
Mhm,
um, and people might not always do right, and
mhm,
people do fucked up things,
mhm.
but I think for the most part people don't know better. And I think if you can just go back and forgive, not necessarily maybe because that person deserves it, but more for your own peace,
Absolutely.
it's huge. It's huge. And when I say like go forgive someone, I don't mean you need to like call them up and sit down and have a big conversation, because I really did think at first that's what that entailed. And sometimes that does more harm than good. So I think
Mhm,
sometimes even just like, if you're into meditation, like meditating and doing a little visualization of you sitting down with this person, expressing your hurt, but saying you forgive them and you set them free and you let go. If that resonates, do that. You can like write a letter and then burn it. Um,
mhm.
you could just even Louise Hay is really big on mirror work, and there is an exercise that she does where you look into the mirror and you like visualize you're actually looking into the eyes of someone you need to forgive, and you just have a conversation. And I feel like for some people that might be a little too woo woo, but try it. If it works, it works. So that's one thing that I have done before, is just going back and forgiving people of the past. Also, forgiving yourself is huge, and it is so hard. It is so hard because there are so many things that we are mad at ourselves for that we don't even realize. And like, one way you can do this for yourself is just make a list of just like all the reasons that you're mad at yourself, and just go back as far as you can. When I did it for myself, one of the reasons I was mad at myself. I did this like probably like 4 months ago, maybe more, I don't know. But when I made the list, I was writing down, I just kept going and going and going and going. And one of the things I put on my list was I was mad at myself for saying no to being in my second or third grade spelling bee. I said I didn't want to do it because I was scared, because I was scared I'd get a word wrong and like, be humiliated. And I was still mad at myself for that, which was so weird because, I don't think we would think about grade school things like that, but yeah, it's true. Or, maybe one time you said the wrong thing in front of someone and you were embarrassed. So it's small scale stuff too that you could still be holding on to. And it's really, really eye-opening to just have it all laid out in front of you, and then kind of just go through and forgive yourself in that time.
You have to you have to face the giants. You have to, let go is really it, I think I have some trouble, sometimes letting go. I'm sorry, I'm trying to set this up here to try to put this on Instagram. I think that'll be pretty cool.
Yay.
I'm sorry. I think you have to face your demons, and I agree with that 100%. And I was getting at that I find it very hard sometimes to let go. And I think being emotional is a gift and a curse, because
totally.
I take things personal, I take things so personal.
Sometimes I don't exactly know where to start, but I think that's totally okay too.
So I think, I wrote something here on my journal before we had the Zoom call, and I don't know if you can read it, but it reads, plant your seeds.
Yes, and that's true. It's real.
I'm sorry, I don't know if I froze, but plant your seeds. And it's so crazy because you mentioned like you don't know where to start, and that's a big thing. Like not knowing where to start is, I feel like a lot of women's just thought process, like what do I do? Like where do I even begin? Where do I start? And it's like, I think that's an okay feeling. And I think the journaling helps, just writing down how you feel. And once we write down what we feel or what we aspire to be or what motivates us or drives us, I think that's a seed within itself right there. Like that's just manifesting right there. And having faith in that is where we can, we'll be okay. We move from that, like having faith and just, I don't know, bringing it to life. So that's good. I like that you journal, and I think that's a
big advocate. I wish everyone would journal. Like, even if you don't know how, like just start somewhere. Plant seeds. Journaling. Like just start somewhere. It's such a useful tool. Even if you don't think you're like a great writer, or you don't have to have this like colorful vocabulary or write poetically. Like even if you're just listing or just jotting down things like straight from your head, like I'm not kidding you, like sometimes I go back and read my journals and I'm like, what the hell did I mean when I wrote this down? Like, what does that even mean? So it's like, it's just a great way though in the moment to kind of get things on paper and decode what you're thinking or put ideas down, or to work through things. Sometimes, we have so much turbulence like going on in our mind, and it's just a great way to like diffuse that a little bit too. You know what I mean?
Totally. Definitely.
But, yeah. I'm a big advocate for journaling. I love prompts too. I usually journal with prompts. Like I make up my own prompts and then just kind of like answer questions, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a little different every time. But yeah.
Same. Relatable. So I wanted to ask you. I wanted to focus like on Kai in this moment. What is something that you're working towards right now that you wake up, you think about it, you go to sleep, you think about it. Like I feel like lately I've been in that energy, where I'm just manifesting, and I think a lot of women are doing that as well, especially like there's a lot of folks working from home or just home or in college with the whole COVID pandemic, whatever, and you're kind of just sitting in your thoughts. So what are things that you're working towards? What are some goals that you have currently?
I have so many different goals that I'm with right now, but I was just thinking for a second, like, where do I start? But I guess like one that I can like really expand on and talk about is, so my Instagram page that I have at In Health Kai, that's not like my personal Instagram. That's just like a little outlet that I created. When was that? In May, I think, May of 2020. And it started as just like a way for me to kind of process like a hard time I was going through. And I had went back and forth about even putting myself out there like that. But I admired other people who did it. And I was like, God, it just seems so healing and, like just such a creative outlet for a lot of people. And I want to do that. And so I finally did it, and I wasn't really sure what I was going to do with it, but it just started to become more like not just this outlet, but like then like a few people would message me and be like, I really love what you're doing with your little page. Like it makes me feel a lot better, or I look forward to seeing what you're going to post, or keep it up, just like little encouragements from people I knew at first. And then it started to grow a little bit more. I don't have like a huge following by any means right now, but like it just started to grow. And now I would say like over half of the people that follow me, like I don't know. And it's just starting to build like this little community. And I've kind of like weaseled my way into I shouldn't say weaseled my way into, that sounds like a weird way to say it. I just kind of made my way into the wellness space a little bit. So there's, the wellness community is really huge in terms of just like girls, my age, just kind of going through their shit, like figuring it out. And we all have connected, and a lot of us like have just built like really good relationships from it. And, we're able to learn a lot from each other. We're able to like encourage each other. And then from there, like you just gain a little bit more traction. And so then at first it just became this like, I don't know, like hobby, I guess. And now it's like, okay, maybe I could do something more with this, because I have a conversation nearly every day with someone about like self-love or healing, or, what's going on in life, or just like someone who wants to process something, or someone who has a question about journaling, or I don't necessarily think I'm like this health expert by any means, but sometimes it's just nice to like talk about what's working for me, or what's working for them, or what's not working for me, what's not working for someone. So I like that. I really, really, really love community. Like I value community so much, and that's a very recent thing for me. I always I don't know, I just never felt like I had a passion. I really didn't. Like, I was always so jealous of people who were like passionate about something. And if you would have asked me like a year, 2 years ago, if I was passionate about anything, I would have been like, no. Looked at people who did have passions, like, oh, that must be nice.
Right.
And when I started to kind of go through my journey, like when I kind of got path, I was like, this is what lights me up. Like, this really does, like, you know, set my soul on fire a little bit. Like, it's so fun, like, for me to not only grow, but like to share my growth, and it's like the best feeling in the world. Like, sometimes I like will cry a little bit, or like can't stop smiling all day because someone will be like, you being vulnerable really helps me, or I really appreciate what you said today, or hey, I have a question, you know, like just little things like that. I'm just like, oh my gosh, you know, I don't have, like I said, I don't have a big following. I think there's 650 people that follow me on that account, but like there's still like a little group I have of people that like I have a connection with that I never would have if I didn't put myself out there. And so now, like, a big focus of mine is like, okay, like, how can I keep going with this? Like, what can I do to like do something with this beyond a couple posts, you know, on Instagram? Like, what can I do to make a difference? What can I do to, like, what can I create to help people that you know, reflects like my values, reflects what I'm passionate about, and I think will make a difference in people's lives. So yeah, I just go back and forth on a lot of ideas, and like, I think a lot of I have a lot of challenges right now, like whether that's ego or whether that's like, I don't know. Yeah, I would say ego is like a huge thing, because I'm, you know, embarrassed, or I have like imposter syndrome sometimes, or I feel like I'm scared to be judged, things like that. So yeah, I mean, that's probably like my biggest little project that I am trying to bring to fruition. Well, and yeah, manifesting is a huge part of that too.
Thank you for sharing that. That was like,
sorry,
that was powerful.
I chat a lot, so
no. This is your space, and this is why I created this, so you can, you know, feel comfortable to talk about, you know, your goals and, you know, just your dreams, because that's the thing. I feel like this world we live in, and this is why social media is so powerful, because you can connect with people who are on your same frequency. And, you know, unfortunately, our 9-to-5 jobs, or, you know, just if we're stuck in an unhealthy routine, it sidetracks, you know, us as women. We get insecure, we start comparing ourselves, competing, and this is a space for you to feel, you know, open and welcomed and motivated to continue to, you know, plant those seeds and water those seeds. And that's why you have a community as well. Like, that's how I feel when I, you know, engage with other people, you know, like me. You know what I'm saying? I feel motivated, I feel driven, and that's what you have, and that's what you're creating, and that's the beauty of social media when you're using it for the right reasons. I feel like when we use our resources, it's rewarding. And I wanted to tell you that 600 people is a lot of people. And I always thought of this in this way. I would always say, if it was me in an auditorium with 600 people, for example, it would be a lot of people that you're speaking in front of, right? So don't focus on the number. Focus on the growth. Focus on the impact, you know, and just focus on how it makes you feel. Like, I can see that this is something that makes you feel good, and me speaking to you, and whenever I put content or I edit content or I'm filming, it makes me feel good. It makes me feel like I'm doing something good for my community, for other people and women just like me. So that's what I'm doing. I'm sharing my goals, my dreams with other women, and I think that is so important and it's so powerful. Positivity and growth is very, very just contagious. When you're in a room or you're sitting at a table with people who are on the same frequency, again, who have those same goals, dreams, aspirations as you, it's like you build, you build. It's contagious. It's all energy. It's a vibration, and it's really important. And it's like, how can we help other women who want to get there? How can we do that? And it's just by simply sharing our stories. A lot of the times we're just, we Google these, icons, these celebrities, these people with millions of views and millions of followers, and it's like we get so discouraged. We're like, how will I ever get there? And it's like they started somewhere. So it's like you and I, we're starting, we're planting seeds. We're having that faith in ourselves and our beliefs and what we really want to bring to a community of people, community of women, like you said, women your age and things like that. So it's a beautiful thing, and I'm just happy that, we're privileged to have this platform. We're very, very lucky to have our resources right in the touch of our fingers to be able to inspire one another. That's a big, big thing. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. Another thing you mentioned was, I put Kai's challenges was your ego. You're scared to be embarrassed, scared to be judged. Like, these are things that I can relate to so much, especially because I'm a very sensitive person, and it's like, we're so scared to like be judged, and it's like, I can imagine, you come from a small town, like, everyone's gonna know Kai's on social media. But listen, that just keep listening to your intuition, that voice, that strong voice that tells you to keep going. And slow and steady wins the race. I always say, never be afraid of of moving slowly. Never be afraid of moving slowly. Be afraid of standing still. Mm-hmm. So I always go by that. And, I'm really happy that we're just sharing this journey with each other. So yeah,
I love it.
That's awesome. Yeah, so yeah, totally. Women coming together, that's a huge thing.
Love to see it. We really do.
Yeah, definitely. Any last words? What advice would you give to just a woman who's feeling down and out on themselves?
To a woman who's feeling down and out on themselves. Oh my gosh, I don't know. There's so much I could say. Probably just love yourself the way you want the world to love you. Give it to yourself, all of it. Go, if you want to get flowers from a dude or someone else or whatever, go buy the flowers for yourself.
Yes.
If you're getting ready so that people on the streets, just get ready for yourself. Like, dance in your mirror. Like, don't care how tacky that sounds, do it. Hype yourself up. If you're having a bad day and you just want to be you just want someone to tell you you're pretty and, rub your back, do it yourself. I know that sounds kind of I don't know, cliche, but just give yourself what you want from the world. And then I think once you look at yourself differently and love yourself, and you start to kind of exude this, I am my own, I belong to myself, the world responds a lot differently to you. And I think when you love yourself and you're not please love me, and you're saying I love me, people respond so differently. you carry yourself so differently. You can go about your day a whole lot different. You can handle adversity a whole lot more than you think. And yeah, I think loving yourself is so important. You know, that's like what I preach all the damn time. So
definitely.
it's, I might not know how to do it, just start somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, Kai. Well, thank you for those kind words. And yeah, you can say your Instagram name where people can follow you?
Yes. So it is at inhealth.kai.
At
so I'm on
inhealth.kai.
Yeah, so that's all I have right now.
Thank you so much for coming on
Thank
here.
you. No, thank you. I love you.
Oh, I love you, Kai.